Why are there so many shows starring Muppets and dozens of movies too? They said they'd watch everyone and they mean it. It's something that they've got to do. So now they've pledged you a lifelong commitment. Muppets, Matthew and Sam.
Welcome to Commitment, the podcast where two friends have vowed to watch all things Muppets. I'm Matthew Gatos.
And I'm Sam Schultz.
Yeah, he is, folks.
I'm trying to get my energy up, Matt. It's late today.
Well, this week, it's time for 3 more episodes of Muppet Babies as we continue our journey through October of 1987 with the episodes Where No Muppet Has Gone Before, Journey to the Center of the Nursery, and This Little Piggy Went to Hollywood.
We're like perfectly synced up with Muppet Babies, I feel like, because it's right now October 2024. So we're journeying right through another October.
Yeah, we're just 37 years behind.
Let's see if I can find the weather from Missoula weather 1987 October. October 30th is today.
Mm-hmm.
The temperature was 59 degrees.
Well, today's high was 49.
So global warming is fake.
That's what Sam is stating here on this recorded medium. Take that, climate change. But we didn't just watch Muppet Babies this week. We got a little bit
One little crumb.
We got a little crumb.
Nice crumb.
We saw a puppet because we also got to watch Kermit the Frog's appearance on Dolly Parton's show, Dolly, from October 25th, 1987.
We got a puppet and we got a lot of boob jokes.
We got like 2 boob jokes.
That's a lot of boob jokes for 5 minutes, Matt.
Also for Muppets.
Yeah, also for it's the
an
first
above
2 boob
average.
Yeah.
Well, we are now about 45% of the way through Muppet Babies.
That is the same number you say every time, Matt. It's got
I think I said 41 last time, or 42.
It's got to be the same number every time. You're messing with me. Somehow you're creating new episodes of Muppet Babies with AI.
Well, some stats for you, Sam, which may depress you and the audience. Who knows? From what I hear, the audience actually loves our despair at Muppet Babies.
At least somebody's having some fun.
This is our 15th episode about Muppet Babies.
That's really all?
That's all.
I mean,
Sam.
that's a fucking lot of episodes.
It's a lot. And if you can believe it, we actually started talking about Muppet Babies Season 1 back in July of 2023. So we've been doing this for over a year now. Talking
There's
about
like
Muppet
prestige
Babies.
television shows that have less hours and have spanned less time than
Yeah,
this.
I don't want to think about how many hours we've spent discussing Muppet Babies. I didn't do that math, thankfully.
Yep. And watching, and then me editing, and then you
watching
researching.
it. Yeah.
So,
well, I will say, Sam, we have about 20 more episodes of Commitment left to talk about Muppet Babies.
I can't do it. I feel like I'm in Mystery Science Theater. I feel like I am trapped, and that both of us are trapped, and that we have to watch this show.
I mean,
and someone's monitoring if we're going to go insane or not.
That is what this podcast is.
It's never felt like it before, though. It's usually.
Yeah.
I mean, I watch something and then I come away from it and I'm like, I didn't love Dark Crystal, but you can really appreciate the artists and the artistry. Or it was fun to watch Frank and Jim be mad at each other on set. Or like the worst of anything. I can find something usually in every bad situation, Matt, but not this. I can't anymore.
Yeah, we're going to get into it, but this week was particularly bad, I think.
It was back to the worst impulses of Muppet Babies, I would say.
I think one of these episodes is the worst episode of Muppet Babies so far.
That's interesting. Okay.
So Yeah, I hate to break it to you, Sam, but we're probably not going to be done with Muppet Babies until like summer of 2026.
That's next. Okay. Okay.
That's about 2 years from now.
Oh,
We'll be done.
2026?
I said 2026.
Isn't there something we can do?
I mean, there's other things along the way that we get to watch, like good
Okay.
things, like Muppet Family Christmas, but
I'm not crazy. This show is not good, right?
it's not good. I think there are episodes that I definitely have liked more than you have liked them.
Yeah.
But this week, this week really just proves that there are some truly heinous episodes of this show. That like not even so bad it's fun, just so bad it's bad, and so bad it's boring, and so bad it's nothing.
The real issue is that even when it's good, it's still not real. And that is something that I
don't have a problem with that part.
I just can't get over that. I can't
See, I
get
think-
over the commercial break where it's like, oh no, a monster. What do we do? And it fades to black and fades back. And then it's like, I don't know. Turn a different direction. Close your eyes. Do anything. It's not real.
I can deal with that. That part doesn't bug me inherently. And I think there was an episode or two last time that we talked about where I was hopeful for season 4 because there was some good imagination sequences where they were actually like everything. Basically, the biggest problem between this week and last time was the imagination sequences just make no goddamn sense this week. They're told like babies tell stories where they're saying, so I went to this and then I saw a dragon and then I saw there was a banana on the ground and then my friend ran in and he was dressed like a Roman and then we chased the dinosaur. Oh no, maybe it was a dragon, but he spit fire and then we crashed our spaceship into Pluto.
And you can't just say, shut up.
Yeah, but that's what this week felt like to me, was like a child was writing it out loud to their parent and their parent's like, this is gold. I'm going to make this an actual television show.
Did you ever watch Dexter's Laboratory?
Not recently.
Did you ever see the one where a kid wrote the episode?
I've heard of it. I haven't seen it.
Computress. That would be my rebuttal to this, is that if they really let children make these episodes, maybe something more interesting would happen.
Some kids are good, though, Sam.
Yeah,
some kids are funny.
True.
Some kids are clever. Not all kids. And I think this this feels like one of the other kids.
Some
not
kids
the Dexter
are real
kid.
Boring.
You might be able to tell we got that after work punchy energy. We're recording an evening episode, and usually when we do an evening one, I get out of here and I'm like, were we too nasty and mean about whatever we watched this week?
You know what? I've been grinding my teeth all day, and I'm ready. To just really let it out on some.
Well, this was also
Cartoon Babies.
I watched these like pretty late last night, and
Me too. I
was
saw
also
you in the dock.
commiserating. Just at least somebody else has to go through this with me.
Yeah.
But I was really just like, maybe it's me. Maybe I'm like, this is not the right time of day or the right day of the week to sit and watch this baby show. Maybe if I watch this on a Saturday morning with a bowl of cereal, I'd be like, you know what? Not so bad, Muppet Babies. But
could be.
I don't know.
I don't care. There's 8,000 more episodes of this to watch, so we can test our theory on some other episodes. But you know what was fun, actually? Speaking of us watching it at the same time, was we were doing a little chatting in the Discord while we were watching the show. And that was a nice moment. So if you want to see us be miserable in the Discord sometimes, hey, join the Patreon.
It's like you knew what I was about to say next, Sam.
Oh.
The next thing in my notes says I wanted to use this time up front for a little bit of housekeeping to specifically call out our Discord and our Patreon live streams that we've been doing. For those that don't know, we have a Patreon that helps support the existence of this podcast, pays for hosting fees and new microphone cables and PO boxes and all that jazz. But we also, as a part of that, we have monthly live streams. We hang out in the Discord. There's good conversations happening in there like every single day.
Great links to all kinds of stuff. Great pictures of merch and like non-Muppet topics of conversation.
Yeah, and it's only $4 a month. So, if you feel like supporting the podcast, you can throw $4 a month our way.
And make a couple dozen friends at the same time. $4 for a couple dozen friends you can talk to. More than a couple dozen, actually.
Yeah, we've got, I don't know. We've got, I'd say,
We don't have to say. Several hundred. How about
well,
that?
I think if you go to the Patreon, you get to see maybe the support numbers there. But
you'll have to go and find out for yourself, though.
That's right. But yeah, come join us in the live streams. This most recent one we just did, we played a bunch of Jackbox games with our Discord people, and it was a lot of fun. I also mentioned the P.O. box. We don't get much in there because we don't talk about it ever. But if you happen to want to send something physical to Commitment, you can do so. It's attention, Matthew Gatos, Commitment, P.O. Box 16434, Missoula, Montana 59808. So if you want to send us a little Christmas gift or something, drop it. Yeah, right?
I would love a little Christmas gift.
A little Christmas gift for Sam.
I deserve it. I deserve it.
Send Sam a little Christmas gift at our P.O. Box. But until then, we'll have to patiently wait to see what we get. And Sam will now tell us what we watched this week.
It's Halloween circa 1987. You have a lot better things to do than watch Muppet Babies, but you still have it on in the background as you finish your Gizmo the Mogwai costume with your mom. The warmth of the holiday season washes over you in a way that not even Baby Kermit and company could ruin. The episode playing in the background is Where No Muppet Has Gone Before, air date October 10th, 1987. The babies are pretending to be explorers when Bunsen and Beaker show up to spend the night. Bunsen has like a little flashlight planetarium thing that shows stars on the ceiling and starts teaching the babies about the different planets, and then they start to imagine that they are adventuring in space. Eventually, they get lost and ask Orion the Hunter for directions home. This episode is genuinely all just little tangents and visual gags with no story, and I refuse to engage with it any further. October 17th, 1987, even closer to Halloween, and today you're helping your parents decorate the outside of the house. The television plays the Muppet Babies episode Journey to the Center of the Nursery to an Empty Room. The babies are playing when there is an earthquake. This causes Baby Fozzie, who is roller skating, to fall, dropping his skate key in a heating vent. We'll get into that later. So his skates are stuck on his feet the whole episode, and he's freaking out. And then Gonzo tells him that the key probably fell to the center of the earth, so he's freaking out even more. But the babies decide to take an elevator to the center of the earth to find the key, where they meet some moles and a king and his evil robots, and eventually the guy at the center of the world who causes all of the earthquakes so that the earth don't explode. They never find the skate key, I don't think, do they? They don't find any skate key. But then they go back up to the surface where Nanny has found one of her old skate keys and gives it to Fozzie. Meanwhile, outside, you stretch out fake spider webs and have never felt happier in your entire life. October 24th, 1987. Your dad has made you go outside to rake the yard this morning. You hate chores as any red-blooded American child does, but you spot your sister watching Muppet Babies through the window and remember, it could always be worse. If you were inside, you'd see that she was watching This Little Piggy Went to Hollywood. The babies all have Hollywood fever and want to go there and meet their favorite stars like Michael J. Fox and Magnum P.I. Miss Piggy is especially fired up, obviously, and imagines herself winning Star Search, becoming a TV star, and singing sensation Pig Donna before... Is that what she's called? Pig Donna? Am I imagining that? Okay.
Nope.
Before starring in a movie with Andrew McCarthy via clips from Pretty in Pink. Eventually, things get out of hand when Gonzo flies into the movie studio in a helicopter, and everything turns into an action movie. And between the stunts and her insatiable fans, Piggy decides that stardom is too hard and exhausting. As you notice the credits roll on Muppet Babies, you throw down the rake and run inside to watch Pee-wee's Playhouse. We also watched a segment from the October 25th, 1987 episode of Dolly Parton's variety show, Dolly. Kermit stands Dolly up for a date, but her stagehand tells her that Kermit snuck off to a nearby bar. Dolly goes there and finds Kermit, who is sad, I guess because he's sick of people focusing so much on him being a frog. Dolly tells him to buck up and that he's got a lot going for him and that he's just as good and interesting as any person, at which point they sing Sly and the Family Stones, Everyday People. And also Kermit makes several references to Dolly Parton's breasts.
Well, he almost makes several
Sure.
references.
She makes them to her own, too.
That was kind of the MO, is if you're doing comedy with Dolly Parton, her boobs are going to come up. Well, elsewhere during this time, you might remember a little show called Fraggle Rock, the animated series, was airing alongside Muppet Babies. On October 10th, notably, one of the episode segments was called Where No Fraggle Has Gone Before, airing the same day as Where No Muppet Has Gone Before.
Really?
Yeah, the exact same day.
Wow.
And then on October 21st, 1987, Jim wrote in his journal, Dolly Parton Show with Kermit. So that was, obviously a few days before is when he filmed it. And then the last thing that was going on around this time, aside from Fraggle Rock, the animated series, was on October 21st, 1987, Jim wrote in his journal, Dolly Parton Show with Kermit, which we'll be discussing today. And maybe we should just talk about first, because,
I like the sound of that.
It's all downhill from there.
Yeah.
What'd you think of Dolly Parton and Kermit?
I was great to see Kermit again after seeing, because I watched the Muppet Babies first, obviously.
Yeah.
It was that way. And then, you come out of Muppet Babies and you think, I hate Kermit. And then you watch
Muppets were a mistake.
Yeah. And then you watch this and you think, oh, I love Kermit. It harkens back to, it's a variety show. I feel like we went through a phase where that's all we were watching. And that was kind of fun. And that's really where Muppets shine, obviously, because Muppet Show is a variety show, but also it was one of the funnest times when they would just randomly pop up on the Jimmy Dean Show's a variety show. They were built to be variety show characters. And I love Dolly Parton too. She's hilarious.
Still. They could still do a special with Dolly Parton today. And it would still work.
Get them back together.
But yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. This harkens back to, the Julie Andrews specials, the Muppet Show segments, specifically like, when Kermit would do the little interview segments in the early seasons with the stars in the Muppet Show, but definitely Jimmy Dean as well. And yeah, I think it's just nice to see Kermit for the first time in a while. And giving him some personality, not making him, sing a usual song that he would sing. Like he gets to sing a really random song, actually.
Yeah, it was a really interesting song choice.
And it wasn't even a recent song. That song came out in 1969. So
yeah, right.
It's not like they were singing the hits of the day on Dolly's show to like try and keep up with. Oh man, we watched something at some point that this is bad for the audience, I know, but we watched something where Miss Piggy made an appearance on a woman's show, and in that show she was singing a bunch of like Karma Chameleon and those kinds of songs to try and seem hip and cool with the youngins.
Oh yeah.
And I'm sorry I don't remember the name of that. I'm sure someone's screaming at their phone right now. But that's what I kind of assumed this was when they were starting. I was like, oh, this must have been like a more recent song, and then realizing, oh no, it's just a weird song to choose.
They must have, I don't know, they wrote the skit around that they wanted to sing that song. I don't know how these things work, but
well, part of why this happened, I think, is that Jack Burns was a writer and producer on the series.
Oh, okay.
So Jack Burns, who we actually just talked about recently because of Puppet Man, he played not the Puppet Man, but the Puppet Man's boss, was also the head writer on The Muppet Show. He co-wrote The Muppet Movie, and forever ago, we discussed him and Avery Schreiber on both Sesame Street and also Our Place. That horrible 60s thing we watched.
They tried their best to destroy Rolf, but they couldn't do it.
If there's a lot of things I look back through our like spreadsheets and I'm like, oh man, there's this lost media that I wish we could find, whether it's Out to Lunch or a bunch of the Jimmy Dean episodes. Yeah. I think there were 6 or 7 episodes of Our Place that Rolf was on. And we only watched one. And you know what? They can stay lost. But as Sam said in this sketch, Dolly is waiting to go on a date with Kermit, who doesn't show up because he's depressed. Because people label him with the frog. And he says, do people ever call you Dolly the human?
He's usually liked being a frog. That's what Not Easy Being Green's all about.
Yeah, he has in the past, no huge issue with being called Kermit the Frog.
Right. It's interesting that Piggy does have a problem with being a pig.
But yeah, they make a few frog jokes at Kermit's expense, and he goes to make a boob joke and basically tries to say that, like, okay, if I make a boob joke, you get to make a frog joke.
Yeah, at one point he's just like staring right at him. And then
Well, yeah,
like,
he's complimenting her. He's
fair
like, you have
enough.
beautiful hair, and your eyes are dazzling, and your smile is radiant, and and he just
But
fades out.
If you think about it, it's just Jim's hand pointing directly at her.
Pointing. Just,
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, they do call out that she and Miss Piggy share certain similarities too.
Yeah, she's like, why don't you like me? People always tell me I look like Miss Piggy.
That's pretty cute.
Especially 80s Miss Piggy and 80s Dolly, because they had the big curly hair.
I'm looking at pictures of them where they have the exact same hairstyle. It looks like in the episode she's in with Dolly, they are dressed exactly alike frequently.
Perfect.
So that's pretty good.
Yeah. Well, this leads to them sort of talking about being famous and how people treat them differently, which leads to Dolly saying the line, "Folks forget we're just everyday people." And Kermit says, "Do you want to talk about it?" And she says, "No." And he goes, "Want to sing about it?" And then she starts singing. I
bet they do say, "What song should we sing?" And then they say, "How do we get there?" That seems like an easier way to do it.
Yeah. What do we have the rights to do?
Right.
But yeah, there's a couple of weird, like, lyric changes that they sing in the song. Some obvious why they made the change. Other ones I'm like, I don't know why you changed that, but it's just different enough to be weird. So the first line is the butcher, the banker, the drummer, and then. And they change it to the butcher, the banker, and amphibian, which is pretty good.
Oh, yeah. That one you understand. Got it.
Yes. That's the one I understand. And also, I applaud them changing the drummer and then to an amphibian.
Yeah.
Like, the rhyming scheme
That's a better
stays.
Line. Honestly, it's a better line.
But then the next part, the original lyric is, "There's a blue one who can't accept the green one for living with a fat one trying to be a skinny one." And they change it to say, "There's a blue one that doesn't like the green one, and there is a chubby one trying to be a skinny one."
That's weird.
Yeah,
that's
it's
really
just
weird.
It's just small changes where I'm like, I don't know why that happened, but sure, go for it.
Maybe one of them messed up.
I mean, maybe. Jim seemed like he was a hair behind Dolly on some of this.
I thought so too. I noticed that as well.
But also at the end of the clip, some lady from a restaurant called Smitty's.
Oh, I love this so much.
It's just like, "Hey, Dolly, you're getting too thin. You need to come down and eat some Southern food." And then now I'm going to name 30 different Southern foods.
Biscuits, collard greens, grits. Yeah. And that's all a bunch of food. You know, I'm Southern. So it's like, okay, I want to go to Smitty's. Get me on a plane. I'd love a biscuit. That sounds great right now.
It's impossible to know where that Smitty's is and if it's still open because they gave us no extra information.
She didn't say what state or any city, nothing.
It cuts off right after that when it's cutting back to Dolly. So maybe Dolly is like, "Oh, thanks. That's Berta from Smitty's in Knoxville, Tennessee."
Or she just blew it. And that was her big chance to be like, "This is where we are located."
Yeah.
The whole country I'm speaking to right now. But no, she messed up. Probably never even realized. Why do you think variety shows don't exist anymore? Are we just not corny enough in society? I mean, I know they do, but they're like, I feel like they're looked on with derision.
I think it's actually because, I think it's a similar thing, but I think not everyone, but I feel like celebrities find it hard to be genuine in those scenarios.
Okay.
And so often it comes off as like, "Can you believe it? I'm doing a variety show. Isn't that nuts?" And it just, there's no longevity to that. Like, it's not fun to watch when it's like a cynical performance of it.
Yeah.
And so I think you need, like, honestly, like, something I'm thinking of is when John Mulaney did his weird kids show thing.
Oh, yeah. That was fun.
That was just like a super genuine weird show that he wanted to make. And he's doing it now with talk shows on Netflix. And it's like, he's maybe one of the few people who could do that kind of thing. And I would feel like he was doing it for the right reasons, for lack of a better phrase. But
yeah,
I just feel like it's very hard to do that well. And I think back then, that was sort of the way celebrities got famous outside of their given talent.
Right.
Like your thing
Right.
is like, if you were a successful musician, actor, whatever, they would offer you a variety show or a special.
Yeah.
I think in the 90s that became the sitcom,
Oh, great
where they were
point.
like, if you're a stand-up comedian or if you're Reba or whoever, they're like,
Mhm.
well, would you like a sitcom? And now it's
Yep.
podcasts.
That's right. The best medium of all, podcasts. Yeah, I wonder if Saturday Night Live like simultaneously like raised the bar of like the comedy in a it just maybe that had something to do with like it made fun of variety shows in a way, but it also like made them funnier, and it also gave famous people like a place they could go like once a week. They didn't have to have their own variety show. They could go on this weekly one. I don't know. I don't think I'd watch a variety show if there was a new one, but
But I think that depends on the host. I feel like
yeah, I guess it does. Yeah.
there are some certain hosts who I feel like you'd be curious enough to go watch.
Right.
Like I feel like one of the recent ones that comes to mind was Hannah Waddingham did a Home for Christmas special on Apple TV last year, and I think the Christmas ones work well. Like Michael Bublé has done some good
Right.
Christmas specials, and so I feel like maybe Christmas is the way to go with this. I think Sabrina Carpenter is doing a Christmas special on Netflix this year.
For some reason, I was gonna say, I'm surprised somebody like Sabrina Carpenter, if they wanted to and were corny enough people, could probably get a season of a variety show.
I mean, honestly, I think Ariana Grande, after watching her SNL episode, I think she could easily do one because she's just very, very funny and good at like sketch comedy. So, and the way she leans into the comedy on SNL, like I could see her doing a whole like special.
Right. And a lot of those people were like Disney kids. So they they were like in Disney sitcoms. So
right. And so they got the chops.
Anyway. Yeah.
But I think outside of Christmas ones, I feel like I don't hear about variety specials happening.
And I guess it
days.
is like you have to, maybe if you watch regular TV a lot, you would. They happen, but I don't know.
Well, we've avoided it long enough, Sam. Let's get into talking about Muppet Babies. The October 10th episode, Where No Muppet Has Gone Before, written by Kathy Selbert. Sorry for all the things we're about to say about your episode, Kathy.
It's probably a hard show to write, I think it's a tall order.
Yeah, this worth noting, Kathy Selbert, this is the only Muppet Babies episode that she wrote. Okay. But in the second and third season of Muppet Babies and on Little Muppet Monsters, she was an assistant story editor. And she went on to write on cartoons like Beetlejuice, Biker Mice from Mars, and Reboot. And looking at her IMDb, she did pass away in 2004, but her IMDb features a fantastic bit of trivia, Sam. Says she developed a season 1 episode of Beast Wars Transformers titled The Greater Ape, wherein Optimus Primal acquires amnesia and falls in love with another ape. However, for budgetary reasons, in building new ape models, the story could not be produced.
Why couldn't what? Just make him a different color.
Just slap a bow on him.
Tool out. Yeah, give him eyelashes. Are you kidding me? Or go over to remember the CGI Donkey Kong show?
Mm-hmm.
Just go get Candy Kong and
maybe that was the excuse they gave when really they were like, I don't want to see Optimus fall in love with a real ape. That feels weird.
Amazing. That's so good.
Well, getting into this episode, I will just get it. This is the one I wrote down might be my least favorite episode of all time so far.
That doesn't surprise me. I had a feeling it was this one.
It just has no flow and isn't funny at all.
There's a lot of moments where I feel like we as people who work in educational media also would be like, this is not helping anybody. Bunsen, you're fucking it up.
Especially when it goes back and forth between actual factual information and then just making shit up.
You're going to mess kids' brains up.
And giving it to the same character is wild. To let Bunsen say both truths and lies about the universe is a bold choice.
It's not responsible. They're misusing their power.
Well, they kick off the episode, unfortunately imagining they're Lewis and Clarking down a raging river with Skeeter Joea.
Yeah, for a long time.
Yeah.
And Kermit Lewis. Come on, guys. Merriweather to Kermit. Call him Kermy-weather or something.
Kermy-weather is 1,000 times better.
And it's nothing. That's not even an idea.
Well, Gonzo alludes to them exploring and them going where no one has gone before. So I thought maybe that would be what this would be about. But we kind of leave that behind.
Yeah, it was a weird opening because they start off in this dream and they're in it for a long time. And I was like, is this going to just be the episode? Is this just like what they're doing? Which would be interesting. Like, obviously the subject matter is problematic, but it was interesting to be like, oh, okay, so they're just going to be like the Lewis and Clark expedition for this whole episode. And it's not even showing us what they're imagining is what, which I could be like, okay, that's kind of an interesting direction. Unfortunately not.
And Nanny comes in. She's back to some of her bad nannying ways this week.
Yeah. This next line is just like, don't go to bed too late. That's your job, Nanny.
Yeah, she brings Bunsen and Beaker in, who are here to stay the night, and does just go, all right, peace out. Don't stay up.
Go to bed whenever you're ready. These are babies. They can't even get in their bed. They sleep in cribs.
Yeah. How are they going to get in those cribs, Nanny? But Bunsen starts to teach them that if you're going to be explorers, you're going to need to understand star maps, and starts to teach them actual things about the solar system and gravity. And then Scooter, of all people, says the words, "What planet are we on, Bunsen?"
What? You have all this knowledge at your computer fingertips, Scooter. You don't know that? Well, sometimes you don't think to ask the questions that seem obvious, you know?
Gosh, shit. I never learned my phone number.
Exactly. Why would I need to?
Well, yeah, apparently Scooter is less smart than Bunsen in this episode.
Yeah.
Maybe you just have to bring Bunsen around to humble Scooter from time to time.
He is the lowest in the order of the Muppet Babies, I think.
But he usually knows stuff, at least.
No, Fozzie. I'd say Fozzie's got to be the lowest.
Yeah, Fozzie's the lowest, and remains there.
Yep.
But Gonzo learns that Mercury is named after an ancient Roman messenger and says, "A messenger on Mercury? What a great job." There's a lot of lines like that in this episode.
Yeah.
That they say as if it's a joke or a very clear, like, you get it. And it doesn't mean anything.
It's like a baby telling a joke. Kids can't tell good jokes. And then you just have to laugh and pretend like you don't think that they're stupid.
Well, and so we get to go to Mercury and we see a messenger fantasy where Gonzo is getting to work for some pizza delivering messengers.
And the guy's voice, what is he trying to be? Bill Murray? Is that what the boss is trying to do?
I mean, it's one of Dave Coulier's voices that he does, and it is a little Bill Murray-ish.
But it's maybe just like some Canadian guy or something.
Yeah, it's a little bit surfery, kind of Canadian, but yeah, it's a little Bill Murray-ish. But the one line in this episode that did make me laugh is when he's handing him a pizza to deliver and said, "This one's for a Miss DeMilo on the planet Venus. Don't ask her to sign for it."
I wrote that was a good one. I said, that's a good one. That made me laugh too. That's the only funny joke they've ever told on Muppet Babies.
I think you might be right.
It's the funniest joke, probably. Right?
Yes, definitely the funniest joke. They don't ask her to sign for it.
Yeah, and they don't explain it or anything. They don't cut to the statue that is, because she's got no arms.
Got no arms. Can't sign for it.
Fill that one in yourself.
Mm-hmm. But then Piggy learns Venus is named after the most beautiful woman ever and says, "Well, wouldn't you like to explore that planet, Kermit?" Because for some reason, this is Kermit's fantasy, not Piggy's.
Yeah.
And so we get Indiana Frog traipsing through the jungle and receives a message from Piggy, who has been kidnapped by a swamp monster who is keeping her in a castle on Venus.
Yep.
And then suddenly a Saturn V rocket lands next to him to take him to Venus. And we find out Piggy is keeping herself. Yeah. Piggy is keeping herself in a bedroom in a castle on Venus, covered in Kermit merchandise. And it seems like she kidnapped herself because there's handcuffs that just keep slipping off of her. But then the shock of all shocks, Gonzo the pizza guy shows up in this imagination segment.
Right.
And then Animal shows up as the swamp monster, which we would have believed was a lie until the moment he actually shows up.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense why. So when Animal shows up as the swamp monster, they're like, Animal, cut it out. And it is kind of like, you invented the concept of the swamp monster. You can't always yell at baby Animal.
Your swamp monsters are coming home to roost.
Yep, that's right.
Well, somehow there's still a dragon to talk about in this episode at some point. Not at the castle, though.
That's one of the ones where they are like the most confusing because they imply that the dragon's real. They're like, is that dragon real? He's like, yeah, it is. Be careful, it's up there.
Well, Bunsen tries to explain the importance of knowing the stars well, explains the Milky Way, constellations, the Little Dipper, which they, rightfully so, they compare it to connect the dots to teach kids about constellations. There are nuggets of wisdom in here.
Yep.
But that lesson ends with just Animal throwing water on the other babies.
Oh, yeah.
He just grabs the Little Dipper and throws water at Rolf.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Gonzo asks if we can use the stars to travel to outer space. He runs into his imagination closet for the first time in a while, where we see a Skeksis hanging out for some reason. And then he builds a rocket raft out of some cardboard, which blasts off after going over a waterfall and transforms into a Star Trek shuttle.
Yeah. I was getting really mad in these parts.
Why is that?
Because the rocket raft is so stupid. They're on a wooden raft that shoots off into space, and they find the North Star, and they're like, hey, North Star, where are you going? And he's like, I'm going to the North Pole. And that's when I was like, no, you can't do this. You have to try to write an episode of this show.
Well, and then they also, suddenly an enormous life form is approaching. It's a Draco dragon constellation who's spitting fire at them, but they just, at first, drive away.
Yeah.
They just go, and steer around him.
Yeah.
And then the ship starts getting hit by milk from the Milky Way. And this is one of the moments where I think it's Fozzie says, you mean it's really made of milk?
Yeah. No, don't tell kids that. You have a responsibility to the people who are watching this show.
Bunsen says, that's right.
You little bastard. And it bothered me so much that the milk was hitting the ship and they were scooping it up with ice cream scoops. And then they were like, it's milk. Why not just say it's, I don't know. Why not do anything different than what you did? Why are you scooping this milk into what is clearly ice cream and then saying it's milk? Just say it's ice cream and then just don't make this episode.
Well, they even talk about being sticky later after they got covered in milk. And it's like,
yeah,
milk ain't sticky.
Weird. I mean, is it? No, I guess it's not.
I mean, I feel like it would have to.
Ice cream is sticky because it's got so much sugar in it. You're right, Matt. They messed up. They screwed the pooch.
They're like, what if it's ice cream? And they're like, but it's the Milky Way. They're like, shit, you're right. It's got to be milk.
Yeah, we already said.
Well, then they swerve around the dragon again after the dragon comes back. They just swerve around it again.
Yeah.
And they say all we need is a star to guide us, which leads us into guiding star.
Oh, yeah, because the milk ruined the map. It got the map wet.
Yeah.
So stupid.
And then we just get a song about a guiding star.
And you know what I noticed in this one? Rolf never once says, that sounds like a song to me. He's getting his job replaced by all these other, the moles are like, let's sing a song. This time they just start singing the song. He's not on his game in these 3 episodes.
Yeah, he has a moment in the second or third one where he says something about music, but it's after they've already done the song. Uh-huh. So I'm like, Rolf, come on, buddy. They already did that. You're not going to get another one.
I missed my chance. But what if we sang another song?
Well, Skeeter suggests doing what Lewis and Clark did and find someone who could give them directions, like Sacagawea.
All comes back around. It's a good episode after all.
I'm about to ruin it because I think it's Rolf says, it'll take forever to hunt for someone out here. And Bunsen goes, that's it. There's a constellation named Orion the Hunter. Maybe he can give us directions.
That's like an old Batman, like we've talked about before, where
Sam,
Batman puts
I
all
have
the
in my
clues
notes.
together.
I think this is one of my least favorite things we see, which I'm going to call the Batman solution. We talked about it recently, where someone says something completely nonsensical, and the other people are like, "Oh, of
That's
course,
giving
I
them-
figured it
They're
out."
like, say that again. Yeah, it's funny when Batman does it because that's the whole joke of Batman is that he's the world's
Right.
greatest detective. It's not funny when Rolf does it or when Bunsen does it because it's just lazy.
Yeah, but the kids are still stoked about the Orion idea. Kermit asks, "Well, how do we find him?" And Bunsen just says, "I'm sorry. I'm afraid I can't help you with that."
He's like a Siri or something. Why?
He puts his head in his hands like he's depressed.
He's so
and he's like,
sad.
"I'm sorry. I can't help you with that."
He's broke.
Why?
He's a broken man.
Why can't he help them with that?
Look out the window and say, there it is.
There's literally no reason given. Suddenly Bunsen is just sad and says, "I can't help you with that."
I
He
guess
knows
I took
the
it as 'cause
constellation
his
exists.
map was ruined.
Later on,
but-
he explains what Orion is and where it is in the sky, and
That's
yet
right.
he can't look out the spaceship window and go,
Yeah,
it's
he would
over
actually
there.
be the only one capable of looking
Yeah.
at it and knowing it by sight. Doesn't even try.
But don't
Not
worry, Sam,
clue.
they have a solution for that. Piggy says, "Hey, Gonzo, turn up the radio." And she just yells a lot,
Yeah.
"Orion! Orion!"
Another thing that seems like it's some kind of joke, but is not even remotely a joke.
Nope. They just find Orion, and he gives them directions back to the nursery so they don't get in trouble for staying up too late. And I will say it ends on there's a sweet note at the end where Bunsen actually shows the babies how to see the real Orion outside their nursery window.
That's where it's a little confusing, though, because they are like, do those things exist? And then he says yes. But I feel like, it's fine. But it could be a little bit more clear that they're just dots and stars in the
Right,
sky.
yeah. There's not an actual dragon.
If you went up there wouldn't be. I liked Orion, though. He's a cool guy. He was like nice. He's like one of the few people who's been really nice to them in the series, I feel like.
I mean, if you found lost babies wandering around outer space, you'd probably help them out.
I suppose you'd give him a hand, yeah. Or you'd just be scared. You'd have a lot of questions.
I guess this confirms, though, that like the babies can see the outside world outside their window. They're not in some weird government dome.
Could be a projection, though.
I guess so.
It's a Truman Show, You've seen the Truman Show, of course. It could just
Yeah,
be.
but
It could be like the Star Wars hotel where there's like the bubble right outside their window.
Well, the go bye-bye at the end of this episode is Orion shooting Animal off on his arrow.
It also struck me that they always yell at Fozzie for telling jokes, even if they're funny jokes, because he does say like, "Oh, it'd be too bad if one of the stars burned out, because then Orion's pants would fall down," in reference to Orion's belt, which is a funny thing to say. But they're still like, Fozzie.
They're just pre-programmed to tell him to shut up.
To hate Fozzie, that's right.
Because, I'd say it's like 50-50, like when he actually tells good jokes.
I think so too.
He's been saying a lot less nonsense this season. Like he used to just like spew a combination of 20 random words. And he's like, "Never mind."
He was trying like his monkey cheese era of humor. He was stuck in the early 2000s.
I'm so afraid of what early 2000s Fozzie is actually like for us.
He's probably fine. I did picture,
but if he's
like,
hanging out
Fozzie
with Pepe
and,
too
like,
much, he's going to get a bad influence.
I did picture Fozzie and like and that had gone to Hot Topic and bought like
he's
the
got
only Hot
Jinko
Topic shirt I could ever
jeans
think
and-
of is "Can't Sleep, the Clowns Will Eat Me."
Which it feels more like a Spencer's thing than a Hot Topic.
That could be a
thing,
Spencer's thing. Those things have really merged together in my brain. I can't really keep track of what.
Wow.
They're-
As a former
they
Hot
sell
Topic
similar
employee, they're pretty much our rivals. So I will say, how dare you?
Well, have you been in the Spencer's here lately?
I mean, no.
It feels just like a Hot Topic. They have the
It
same
doesn't.
wall of T-shirts with all the same bands and stuff. You think we'll have to go to the mall someday, and you can walk me through why it's different. Has a lot more sex toys in the back.
I was going to say, Hot Topic doesn't
That's a
have
big
a
one.
weed section and a sex toy section.
Yeah, that's right. They have a whole section of Chucky stuff, though. So it's my favorite store in the mall. It's the only store I shop at. I just buy like Chucky gummies to eat.
One Chucky, one weed, one dildo, one weed, one Chucky. Grocery list done.
This recipe calls for 5 Chuckies. Insane.
Just get my CBD Chucky gummies at Spencer Gifts in the mall.
That's all I need to keep going. That's why I am the way I am.
Well, speaking of keeping going, we must move on to our second episode, Journey to the Center of the Nursery. Written by Cindy McKay and Larry Swerdlove, who we talked a bit about last time.
Were they the married ones?
Yep.
Okay.
This one aired on October 17th, 1987, and this was the last episode produced by Japanese-based Toei Animation.
Definitely in the next one, there were moments where I was like, this looks weird. This looks not... It doesn't look necessarily worse to me. It just looks different.
Sam, we are on the same wavelength tonight because I wrote, I don't know if the animation is worse, but it's definitely different.
Yeah, Piggy especially is rendered very differently.
There's a lot of squishy faces. There's a lot of random, what I describe as like Charlie Brown Peanuts animations happening, where characters just suddenly get very flowy and moving in a way that they've never moved before.
Interesting.
And also some very bad wide shots. Like when they had to draw the characters at a smaller scale, they got real sloppy, and a lot more characters just standing there mouth agape. If you pull up the episode at 11:40 into the episode, we have our characters walking up to the castle, and they walk up. We're talking about the last episode now, which is out of order, but that doesn't matter. You see them walk up to the castle in a very weird, flowy way that caught my eye. It felt like it felt like the Simpsons dream sequence where Homer goes to the land of chocolate.
They're being weird.
Mm-hmm.
You're right.
There's just lots of weirdness. So we're talking about the third episode now, the one where the new animation company, ACOM, comes in. There's a scene around 15:30 into the episode, and this was one of the most egregious ones where you have a lot of random shots of animals sitting there mouth agape, not interacting. Then Rolf is standing there, mouth agape, not interacting. Just lots of random Muppets standing around doing nothing. But then there's a moment that's really, really weird at like 15:50 that Rolf says a line, and then when other characters start talking, he's just randomly doing a weird dance in the background.
That's so weird. Okay, you're right. You noticed this better than me.
I was looking for it, to be fair.
His little dance is disturbing.
His arms get like long and flowy in a weird way. I don't like it.
I think I was distracted by how much pinker Piggy's cheeks and nose were for the most part.
Well, it's interesting because I don't know what, stage of their life this company was at this point, this new company, but they will go on to animate our childhoods, Sam, because they're going to animate X-Men, Tiny Toon Adventures, Animaniacs, Batman the Animated Series, Arthur, and The Simpsons. So clearly, like, this company gets it together at some point.
They worked on The Simpsons for 231 episodes, so...
Yeah, which, I mean, to be fair, isn't even half of The Simpsons, but is a lot of Simpsons.
Up through season 12, though.
Well, kicking off the actual episode we're supposed to talk about right now, which is Journey to the Center of the Nursery, the kids are playing the fun game of imagining they're in a traffic jam. They sing London Bridge and, of course, show Tower Bridge because they're dumb babies. And Piggy and Kermit trap Fozzie in the bridge. And then suddenly a real earthquake happens. Yeah, this is another episode where you're teaching kids some weird lessons, I think. We'll get to it, but there's some moments where they give some earthquake advice.
Yeah, a very light dusting of what to actually do in an earthquake so far into the episode that you're kind of like, oh yeah, they had an earthquake. I totally forgot about that.
And they also make sure to sprinkle it with existential dread about the planet exploding.
Yeah, a lot of that. There's like at the beginning of that, right after the earthquake, when they're like, it's just the earth burping. First of all, no, it's not.
Yeah, they really lean into this idea that the earth will explode if it doesn't vent pressure from time to time. And it's like the earth is burping to release pressure. No?
That's ascribing too much sentience to the earth, I guess.
Well, more sentience, it's obviously Edgar at the center of the earth controlling everything.
He's God in this universe. There is no God, there is Edgar. Why is his name Edgar?
I don't know.
They couldn't have come up with a pun for him. They couldn't have called him Mr. Richter or something,
I mean, anything would have been better than Edgar. Well, Nanny comes in to check on the kids-ish. And the babies are like, oh no, Fozzie broke the house. And she's like, it was an earthquake.
Yeah, you broke my flower pot. Oh, I guess it was the earthquake. It's also so Fozzie's, I feel like this is the second episode in two batches that has had this most confusing heating vent to me.
A very
at least.
conveniently placed.
It's at a very
heat
odd
vent.
height. Yes, that the babies can get to. But to see Fozzie's roller skate key fly out of his... First of all, are you supposed to have the key in your roller skate while you're roller skating?
I mean, Sam, you're asking about something from like 60 years ago.
I don't even know what a skate key is, first of all.
It's from, I know a little bit. So the roller skates at the time weren't like, you buy your size and lace them up. They were, you put them over your shoes and you use the key to tighten them. And so you would tighten them onto your foot.
Right.
And I guess couldn't get them off without a key, which I'm seeing probably why they moved to a different form of roller skate eventually.
That makes sense because I watched this episode of Muppet Babies and then they were like, "Oh fuck, we can't have that happen." But
it does make sense. Like if you have multiple kids or a growing kid,
right?
It does make sense to buy them one pair of roller skates that they can just adjust forever.
Totally, big roller skate intervened. Rollerblades. That's why they invented rollerblades. Try making these one size fits all. That's what they said. But Fozzie's key flies off of his foot and then bounces off the ground and then up directly into this like ceiling mounted heating vent, which I'm sure they meant it to be on the ground because heating vents are on the ground too, right?
It's the same place from the Shrinking Weirdo episode.
I know, but they could have also had that one on the ground and hung the whistle above it and it blows up onto it. That's just a very odd.
They could have just had, for the Shrinking Weirdo, they could have just had like a normal radiator in the room.
That too. Was this written by the same team?
I think it might have been. I think this team is like, we gotta have a vent.
They have a weird hang up about heating vents.
I thought for sure those kids were going in that vent.
Yeah, also that.
When you call an episode Journey to the Center of the Nursery and you throw something down a vent, I'm like, uh-oh.
Don't teach kids this, please.
Which maybe they realized, but they were like, well, we're too far gone.
Yeah.
The key has to go in the vent, obviously.
Doesn't Read as a show that had like a sensitivity reader or like a child welfare reader kind of. I wonder if it did have like a set of eyes that looked at it who were like, no, this whole episode's about getting in the refrigerator, so we're not going to be making this one. Or if
they just borrowed somebody from Sesame Street. They're like, hey, if you have time, just give this a quick look. Nanny comes in to explain the earthquake to the kids, explains the Earth's crust and the different layers. Again, I'm shocked to learn that Scooter doesn't know any of this stuff. But for now, Nanny is saying that sometimes pressure builds up and has to be released. An animal burps, which is very good. Good timing, animal. But also, it lets Nanny just go, yep, exactly like that.
Yeah, and then she's just like, yeah, the Earth's burping. Mm-hmm. Animal is the best one. He's acceptable.
I think you're right.
He's an okay Muppet baby.
Because he's a proper baby, and we don't judge him if he does something bad because you're like, oh, yeah, you don't know better.
It's just Animal. You're never going to get over this either, Animal. You're only going to get worse.
Yeah, you will be the same forever.
Yeah.
Piggy gets really grossed out by this concept, and this is when Nanny says to the babies, I know it's not very pleasant, but if the Earth didn't release some pressure, it might explode. And then she leaves the room.
That's not true, right?
I don't think so. I mean, maybe, I guess, like if that, the Earth isn't choosing to release pressure. So I guess like the concept of that alone.
Yeah, right.
But like, is there a world in which we encased the Earth in a steel case where we would implode the Earth because it couldn't release pressure? I don't know. That's a Hank Green question.
I mean, I like a volcano is a specific area where like pressure has escaped from the Earth. So it will escape. But I don't think an earthquake has anything to do with that. Like, they knew what plate tectonics were in 1987, right?
I think so.
Plate tectonics came to be accepted by geoscientists in the mid to late 1960s. So they did. Kind of new science at the time, though.
That's
maybe
wild.
People are still catching up.
I guess maybe
that is wild, but
they learned about plate tectonics, but maybe they didn't understand earthquakes. I don't know. We weren't alive.
That's true. Well, we were not in the.
We
60s.
were alive at the point this episode aired.
Yeah, we were just
but
babies.
Not.
We couldn't have told anybody the truth if we wanted to. I just feel like the concept is flawed somehow from the very beginning. where it's like, sure, but just like
Right.
part of it maybe would explode, but that is what's happening. Like
Right,
it
like
is exploding.
Yeah, it's a very weird concept for a question at all.
Yeah. Nanny should have taken more care to say no.
But it's not gonna.
Yeah.
Well, Nanny brings him in a book showing off the layers
This
of
would
the
be a
earth.
great time for the Yellowstone caldera to explode.
In the middle of recording this episode.
Yeah, as we're talking about this.
Well, we would be wiped off the map.
I know,
instantly.
but hopefully Zencaster would remain and they would release this episode.
Somebody would be like, "What were they doing as they died?" It's like they were talking about this very thing. It'd be like the guy who was taking the Mount St. Helens photos as it erupted.
Oh yeah,
But way less important than that guy because he was real and that actually happened to him. Well, Nanny is going to teach the kids. Well, that's generous. Nanny's going to give the kids a book and tell them, here, look at it and learn.
That's her MO.
Look at these pictures of the layers
Here's
of the
something you
earth.
can't read. Figure it out, you little freaks.
Don't forget that throughout this, Fozzie is still stuck in his skates and needs his key. And Gonzo
That has
theorizes...
very little bearing on the episode, actually.
Absolutely. They just wanted to go to the center of the earth.
Yeah.
And they were like, how do we get down there? What if Fozzie shot a key into our wall-based heat vent?
Yeah. When they could have dropped anything down the actual, like a floor-based heating vent. But they already drew that picture of the one up on the wall, so they were going to reuse it.
There's so much like working backwards. We're like, okay, well, how do we get him in skates? Well, what if the kids pretend they're in cars in traffic and his skates are his car? But Gonzo theorizes that maybe the key fell all the way to the Earth's core, so they have to go in Gonzo's imagination closet and imagine they're in an elevator that takes them down through the layers of the Earth.
I do like that the closet's back.
The closet is back. In the next episode, they animated it in the wrong place and too small.
Oh, Matt. It's a brand new for people.
They moved it to a different wall, and the door is like a weird middle height between baby height and Nanny height. But it is not a closet that Nanny could use anymore.
What the heck? They blew it. Do
Yeah.
they think the Muppet Babies are human-sized and Nanny's giant?
I just think they didn't worry about it too much.
That's probably okay.
So they go into the closet, go down through the layers of the earth. They see some rock monsters, and then they end up at a layer with some mole miners named Miles and Maynard. And one of them sounds like Wolfman Jack.
Yeah, they're kind of like hip cat guys who...
But only in voice.
Yeah,
like,
they don't look like it. They're dressed like miners, and they are moles, and they have goatees. So there is that kind of like hipster, like in the old version of being a hipster, like a 60s hipster kind of guy. And then, so it feels like that's because they're going to sing a song that's kind of like that. But then when they sing the song, their voices turn into like Alvin and the Chipmunks style, like squeaky.
Yeah. Well, he even leads into the song. He's like, "You're headed for the Earth's core. You're crazy, man."
Yeah.
And then it's like, doo-wop, underground. Like,
and then they got little squeaky voices. And it would have been cool if there was like a Wolfman Jack interjections in the song or something.
Would have been.
But they didn't do that.
There is
the Fraggles would have done that.
There's an interesting thing that happens during that song, though. We get to look at an evolutionary chart of Gonzo.
Oh, yeah, right.
There's a Gonzo amoeba, Gonzo fish, Gonzo dinosaur, Gonzo mammoth, and Gonzo caveman.
That's right. That's good. I like that.
So I feel like this animation team really went out on a high. They were like, let's draw some fucked up stuff.
I wonder why they switched partway through a season.
I think it was just money. Well, the kids venture down to the core, where a villain wants to enslave them in the salt mines. If they don't agree, his robot soldiers will use them for target practice.
The most overtly violent section.
We will shoot you.
We'll shoot you to death.
If you don't become our salt mine slaves.
And they do have functioning guns. I think we see that later, right? That they have like laser guns.
Yeah. We do get some cool vehicles in this episode too. Like the salt tank is interesting. Yeah. The drilling vehicle has a cool design to it.
Kind of looks like Snidely Whiplash's car in Wacky Racers.
Yeah, it looked like vehicles from a cooler cartoon.
That's yeah. Where the stuff that happened in the cartoon was real.
Mm-hmm. Well, they put them in the pepper mills, where thankfully Miles and Maynard have shown up to rescue them and bring them to the center of the earth.
Is there any meaning to their names?
Apparently based on jazz musicians Miles Davis
Okay.
and Maynard Ferguson.
Oh, okay.
Says Muppet Wiki, which
I
I
should have sang a jazz song
trust.
when it was just a song.
That would have made too much sense. Well, they get to the core and they find a man named Edgar whose job it is to maintain the pressure of the earth, choosing to release pressure through earthquakes and volcanoes.
Kind of a scary concept.
Yeah, he's choosing where to wreak havoc on the earth.
Yeah.
And
if he stops for a second, then the earth just like instantly goes into chaos explosion mode.
Well, and they try to call him out for it, and he's like, "Don't you pin these things on me. I'm just doing my job."
Yeah, what did he do that made him have to be there?
How did he get this job?
I think he did. I think he sinned in life, and this is his penance. He's stuck.
This kind of happens in Lost.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's a thing that there's a couple things actually throughout Lost where it's like you have to do this every so often, otherwise the world ends.
Lost seems like a weird show.
Oh, it very much is. It gets completely nonsensical by the end. Well, they continue to teach the kids the lesson that the world might just explode one day, which is, great for 4-year-olds to learn while they're watching this, and then go ask their parents, "Hey, Mom, is the world gonna explode?"
Then their parents say, I actually don't know. It's 1987. We have to go to the library.
We learned about tectonic plates in my lifetime, kid.
Yeah.
But then Edgar does say to the kids, "There are a few things you can do to be safer in an earthquake. Look around the house and make sure there's nothing heavy up high to fall and conk you on the head." End of lesson.
Yeah.
He says there's a few things you can do, tells them one thing, and then we're out. Because there's a level 4 distress alarm going off. And it turns out Fozzie's the only one who can help pull the levers that need to save the day because
his roller skate make him tall.
Yep. But then they get shot out of a geyser back to the surface, which we've discussed previously would absolutely kill them.
That's Old Faithful.
Yes.
Have some respect for not Montana, but pretty close.
Pretty close to Montana.
Yeah.
Which we have discussed geysers in the past, and that they would rip the skin from the bones and absolutely liquefy those babies. Yes.
They've been killed in geysers before, in fact.
I think Gonzo specifically, maybe in a Go Bye Bye, Animal put him in there.
Yep. Animal killed him. You're right. I think you're right.
But the episode ends with them not finding the skate key that they traveled to the middle of the earth to find, but Nanny found another one in an old drawer.
They didn't really even bring it up, I feel like, for most of the episode. I know that's what they were trying to do, but...
Yeah. That's the thing is, like, we talked last time about, like, how they were really doing a good job of, like, motivating the plot and pulling you through the episode.
Yeah.
To, like, the plot points made sense of why they were doing the next thing. And in these episodes, it's just a lot of little bits slapped on top of each other with, like, the loosest threads tying them together.
Do they even have to have a reason to go to the center of the earth? Isn't going to the center of the earth enough of a reason?
I think they could have a better one for sure.
Yeah.
But I don't think they need one necessarily.
Well, having an earthquake and then Nanny come in and saying, here's the inside of the earth. See ya. Mm-hmm. That seems like an okay reason. You don't have to have
wait a minute. What's down there?
Fly up into a vent on the ceiling, on the top of the wall.
Well, they never even, like, the conceit being it went into that vent, so it must have fallen to the core of the earth.
That's funny, at least, kinda.
But I think if he had dropped it down, like, the drain of the sink in the bathroom or something like that, that feels more believable. It go down.
That would make more sense. It would go down. That's true. Yeah. That's
like,
true.
if an HVAC thing on your wall, it's like 1 inch inside of that grate. Nanny could just go, oh, got it. But there's an aftershock at the end. Fozzie yells into the vent for Edgar to cut it out. And Edgar yells back and apologizes.
He's real.
And Fozzie is surprised to hear him.
That's how the earth actually works in Muppet Baby. It really would explode. Or
we're learning more about this government ordeal that makes up the world of Muppet Babies.
It's lost. It
is lost.
That was a government kind of adjacent thing, wasn't it? Some kind of shadowy organization.
There's definitely some shadow organizations happening. And the very last episode we've got to discuss this week, which we've talked about a little bit here and there throughout, is This Little Piggy Went to Hollywood, written by Cindy McKay and Larry Swerdlove, the same couple.
Oh, wow. They were prolific.
Mm-hmm.
The passion of their love ignited their ability to write really bad episodes of Muppet Babies.
Well, they also weren't married at this point, so I don't know if they maybe fell in love during Muppet Babies.
They were like, we got to write more episodes of Muppet Babies together. They were looking for any excuse. They'd be like, oh,
we got to make babies together. It's like, what'd you say? It's like, we got to make Muppet Babies together. It's like, oh, okay. I thought you said something else.
What if I wrote this one with Larry? Wouldn't that be crazy?
Well, the very first thing we see in this episode after the theme song is Michael J. Fox as Alex P. Keaton.
Really weird. I got, when you're watching things on YouTube, sometimes when Michael J. Fox pops up after the Muppet Babies theme, you think, could it be that someone's had a bit of fun with this episode of Muppet Babies?
I'm waiting for that every single time, Sam, and we didn't mention it, but in the second one, somebody inserted an intermission to promote their own YouTube channel.
That was great. I liked that a lot. Just a little graphic that said, we'll be right back. Please subscribe. Thanks for watching.
It looked like it was made 14 years ago, and that video was uploaded 2 months ago.
Oh, I assumed it was really old. That was quite a graphic. I don't even know how you make a graphic that looks like that.
It's like you traveled back and took GeoCities and put it on YouTube.
Yeah.
Well, Piggy reveals that she sort of has a crush on Michael J. Fox. And then after the Family Ties goes to commercial, they see an ad for a TV special all about Hollywood.
Okay, I couldn't quite tell what the ad was for. It seemed like an ad just for the concept of movie stars.
It kind of was. It was just like, join us for a TV special about Hollywood. And they show a bunch of famous Hollywood stars, including Jim Henson and Bert and Ernie. Gonzo mentions his favorite Hollywood star, Max Headroom.
What a pull.
And he even does a pretty good Max Headroom impression.
Yeah, I watched that a couple times.
It is definitely a highlight of this weird episode. I think the biggest problem with this episode is that all the other kids are having fun, being good, and then Piggy just hijacks the episode.
Yeah, that's an interesting because it does feel like playing with Piggy, and she's messing up your play date. You're right.
Yeah.
And they're all kind of irritated with her. They almost do, because the babies keep being like, oh, you got all these fan letters. Oh, you can only eat the celery. So it does feel like the babies are like messing with her to some degree, but I think that's an accident.
Right. But it feels like they're being asked to play Piggy's game, and they're not getting to play their own version of Hollywood stories or whatever.
Right. And this would be a fun one where we got to see a bunch of the babies having like fantasies of being in different movies, or like
show us more Max Headroom.
Yeah, go into a full Max Headroom takeoff. It's like an obscure British television show, and also he's like the pitch man for Pepsi. Is that? I've never really been quite clear on who Max Headroom is.
I don't know if he's British, but
the show was a BBC show, I think. He debuted in April 1985 on the Channel 4 British-made cyberpunk TV movie Max Headroom. That's where he came from. But I think
all I know is that this was about.
Guy.
Well, I also know this is about a month before the famous Max Headroom TV hijacking in Chicago.
That's where they got the idea. Could be.
If you don't know, look it up. It's fascinating.
It's
I think there was 2 or 3 times in Chicago somebody hijacked the WGN TV signal dressed in a Max Headroom mask. I think someone got spanked with a fly swatter in one of them. Yep. And they did this in the 80s.
Bare-assed,
and no one ever figured out who it was.
Yep, pirate television guy. And it's
to this day, no one knows who hijacked the station and put Max Headroom on TV.
He could be listening to this right now.
I mean, I would love that to come out one day. Just some old guy in Chicago being like, "Hey, yeah, I was the Max Headroom. That was me. Here's my mask."
You know how the voice is like a modulated voice?
Glitchy.
Like,
yeah.
What if he really just talks like that, though? That'd be a dead giveaway. It was you.
Hey, I think you were the Max Headroom guy.
Yeah. He was the new Coke spokesman. I'm sorry. Not Pepsi.
I mostly know him because of Back to the Future.
That too. I'm sure that's actually how 99% of the people these days who know about Max Headroom know him. It's
Yeah.
great.
Well, the kids decide to write letters to their favorite movie stars. What a good idea for a concept for an episode of all the babies getting to share the screen and talk about Hollywood things they like. They can't write, so they're just going to draw pictures of themselves to send to the famous people, along with letters that Nanny will help them write. Skeeter is going to send one to Supergirl, who we even see Piggy pretend to be later.
Yeah, that is
Piggy
odd.
steals Skeeter's dream.
These two people could only think of 5 famous people between them, and then most of them were fictional characters.
Yeah, Kermit's going to write to Magnum PI, and Gonzo's going to write to King Kong. Meanwhile, Scooter is making a computer picture of himself and Clanky the robot to send to Pee Wee Herman.
What did you call him?
Did I say it wrong?
Conky, not Clanky.
This is when I revealed that I've never watched Pee Wee's Playhouse in my entire life.
You sicko. You've never even seen the Christmas special?
No, I've only seen the movies.
This year you should watch the Christmas special. It's great.
I did find that part really charming, though, with the actual Conky clip.
Yeah. I kind of like the whole entire concept of them writing to famous people. Maybe because they're engaging with like the world, and that's kind of it's like they're getting to be real in a way.
Well, once again, I'm about to ruin it for you, Sam, because Piggy's practicing her autograph because she says, I'm going to be a big star.
Yep.
And then we get to just
transition
transition.
the episode.
Yep. Because it does a sort of normal thing, which is not terribly surprising. It transitions into Piggy's imagination, where we get to see her playing Annie on stage. And you think, okay, are we done with Piggy? We're going to get to go see what Scooter's up to now? No. Because then she says, can you imagine me on the Cosby Show? And then we have to see that. Piggy edited into a scene as Ruby. Yeah,
Rudy.
That one I know.
You don't know any character from any show.
I know Rudy. I wrote Rudy. I just said Ruby.
All right, a likely story.
I was distracted by a notable felon being in Muppet Babies.
That's fair.
But Piggy's not done there, because guess what? Time to see Piggy Poppins, where she's playing Mary Poppins. We go back to the kids. We get a nice joke at Piggy's expense from Skeeter, where Piggy says, I can't sit around here waiting to be discovered. I just have to go to Hollywood. And Kermit says, but what do you do in Hollywood? And Skeeter says, simple. She'll sit around there waiting to be discovered.
That's pretty good. I missed that.
But yes.
They should let Skeeter get one over on Piggy more often. That's pretty fun.
But then Piggy, we got to go back to Piggy's imagination, where she's going to imagine herself hanging out with really big stars. She runs into Steve Weirdberg, who is Gonzo as Steven Spielberg. Well, then Ed McMahon shows up just to discover Miss Piggy on the street and makes her be on Star Search. And I can't tell if they got Ed McMahon or just someone can do a really good Ed McMahon impression, because it sounds...
Does it say in the credits?
Not that I saw. And it wasn't on Muppet Wiki, but it sounds a lot like him.
It does sound a lot like him, and I feel like maybe I just think this because of like the Larry Sanders Show, but I feel like he's the kind of guy who would do anything. So like, wouldn't be surprised if he did do it. Right.
Wouldn't be surprised if he did it, and he's, hung out with Jim enough on The Tonight Show. So I feel like it's possible, but it could also just be Frank Welker, for all I know.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot they had a voice chameleon, several voice chameleons on there.
Scooter asks Piggy for her autograph and hands her like 1,000 sheets of paper. So I guess he's inventing eBay and going to sell those off. Skeeter nefariously wants to be Piggy's manager. We get to see I Love Piggy. None of these segments are funny, by the way. I feel like we should stress that.
No, none of it's fun or funny to watch, and it's hard to pay
all these parody
attention
segments, there aren't really jokes in them. It's just like, what if Piggy was Lucy?
Yep. And I mean, this one did strike me because it was like the people who wrote this really loved I Love Lucy, was the impression I got. That like,
because it went on for a while.
Everybody involved in it was like, oh, I've watched several episodes of I Love Lucy, and now we will do a multi-minute long love letter to I Love Lucy with no punchline. It is just an episode of I Love Lucy.
Well, and like a challenge of like, hey, Frank, can you do Kermit doing Ricky Ricardo's voice?
Right. And should you is the next question.
They didn't ask that question back then, Sam. They just said, can you?
Yeah, him doing his accent is challenging.
Mm-hmm. Well, Piggy becomes famous for some reason. I think because of the TV show.
Yeah,
So we
or
get a
something. She's
lifestyles.
already famous from, according to Muppet
Yeah.
Wiki, she got famous from being on Star Search, but I don't know.
I mean,
if
she
that's
messes
true.
that up though. Fozzie like drops her cue
Yeah,
cards.
that's what I remember as well.
Well, we get a Lifestyles of the Pink and Famous segment that is so important it goes over a commercial break, which really was when I was like, Piggy fully hijacked this episode because her imagination segment gets to keep going past the commercial break.
But this is her MO. She hijacks, so this makes sense in character. I'm kind of liking this episode better thinking about it that way.
I would be more okay with it if she was actively hijacking the playtime.
Yes,
like if kids were trying to be like, and then I'm going to go do this in Hollywood. And she's like, and that's when I show up and steal your job.
That's right. That would be really fun.
But she just keeps saying, like, it's like she doesn't pause long enough for the other kids to imagine.
I was thinking too, yeah. She just keeps talking and then talking and then talking for 30 minutes straight. And the other kids are just like, okay, I guess we'll go do something else now.
She realizes she's getting to the end of a thought, and then she's like, but what if I was also in I Love Lucy? Wouldn't that be funny? And then, but what if I did a movie with Andrew McCarthy? Well, Skeeter mentions that Piggy's agent, Bernie, has offered her to do a movie called Outrageous Pigpen, a play on Outrageous Fortune, a movie that came out earlier in 1987.
Okay. Not familiar.
Skeeter's, yeah, me neither. Skeeter's agent character is a bit troubling because she insists Piggy must watch her weight and only eat celery. And we randomly get a music video from Piggy called A Very Special Pig. It's her new music video because she's Pig Donna now, where we just show off a bunch of Hollywood things. And it's the songs in this batch are bad.
The song, yeah. I don't remember
That's the problem.
of them, so they must be bad. But they're not terrible. They're just bad.
No, they're not. I think the spectrum here is doo-wop to great, and they're not doo-wop.
They're not, yeah, it's true.
Well, this is finally near the end of the episode where everyone else is like, hey, we could also work in Hollywood. So Kermit becomes the director, directs Andrew McCarthy and Piggy in a scene featuring some pretty well edited together archive footage from Pretty in Pink.
Yeah, it's kind of cute. Andrew McCarthy, it's like he's charming enough that he can float this bad idea.
We do get to see glimpses of future Kermit, though, when he starts to get a little jealous when Piggy actually starts to show affection for someone else. He's like, hey, maybe we're done here.
Interesting moment. Yeah. Is that the first time that's ever happened on Muppet Babies?
It feels like it.
Mm-hmm.
They've referenced like dating a little bit in other episodes. Like there was some romance there, but it usually seems pretty one-sided.
Huh.
Well, Gonzo swoops in with a helicopter in order to make the movie more exciting and to make the episode last longer, I assume. At the end, the kids tell Nanny that they're making a movie and Piggy's going to be a Hollywood movie star.
Is that right? I hate when she says that because it feels like your mom saying like, that's interesting.
I mean, think of what her life is, Sam. Think of what she has to go through every day with these kids.
It's walking in and out of that room 3 to 4 times a day. And just
you guys like, dead? Nah? All right.
Like scooping in a big shovel full of kibble, being like, see you later. Yeah.
Scooping in the kibble, scooping out the poop.
Yeah. It's like she is in this experiment, but the government has cut funding of the experiment, but like nobody ever told her.
Yeah.
So like nobody comes and checks anymore.
Oh, Sam, you gotta watch Lost.
Is that what Lost
is? This is Lost.
Okay, Nanny's on the island then.
Yeah.
This is all making sense.
Piggy makes clear to everyone, hey, I'm not going to Hollywood yet because it's a lot of hard work.
It's too hard.
And there's no time for playing, and you can't eat the food you want. But she's not giving up on her dream to be a star someday. She just has to practice signing her name first. And we get the only maybe moment that I've ever seen Nanny actually help the babies do anything that could lead to actual character growth. She's going to help the kids learn how to write their names.
That is an important educational moment for children.
I don't imagine it will come back at all. Well, the go bye-bye at the end of this one is the kids.
You forgot that Michael J. Fox shows up in the imagination closet at the end and tells Piggy he loves her.
Yes, that is the moment when the imagination closet is the wrong size and in the wrong place in the room.
Oh, yeah, right.
When she goes to see Alex P. Keaton in the closet, where,
Yeah.
yes, he does say he loves her, and
I
then she
love
passes
you.
out.
Yeah.
Well, they go bye-bye at the end as the kids are all sitting at a fancy restaurant, but Animal comes out hidden under the cloche and scares them all away.
Great pull. Cloche.
I had to Google it, to be fair.
Okay. You're a
It's one of those things
fancy
where my
man.
brain said, I think that's a cloche. And then I Googled it to be like, I don't want to say the wrong word in front of Sam.
You're just covering for the fact that you serve all your meals are served to you beneath a cloche.
Via cloche.
Yep.
Yeah. I have several cloches.
So send us a cloche to our P.O. box.
I don't think that's going to
his
fit.
collection. His cloche selection.
Hashtag cloche selection. Well, that does it for Muppet Babies for the week. We survived another batch of baby shows.
It's crazy that Family Ties was still on. It had started in 1982 and went to 1989. I feel like that show doesn't that's not one that people revisit very often.
No, I feel like there's people who have an affinity for it, but it is not one that I hear people, I feel like Cheers is one that people are like, oh my God, I just watched all of Cheers on Hulu.
Yeah, right.
I don't feel like people are like, oh man, I just marathoned all of Family Ties in 1 week.
Yeah, I think if someone said that, you'd be like, what is wrong with you?
Why? Well, speaking of non-Muppet things, Sam, what non-Muppet things did you enjoy this week?
Well, I've mostly been watching the Chucky show.
Still?
Yeah, I took a big long break. I only finishing the first season, but I really like it. I think it's a good show, and I think it, has good characters, and Chucky's interesting, and it's showing like his background. And sometimes when I go to bed after I watch it, I'm a little freaked out. So it's like the perfect scary time show. It's the day before Halloween when we're recording this, so I have to watch Halloween still, like the movie Halloween. I watch that tomorrow while waiting for trick-or-treaters, which we only get one of usually. How about you?
Well, I've spent over 80 hours of my life playing Ghost of Tsushima and still chipping away at it. Every side thing, I've been doing it all, Sam. Yeah, I don't know what it is, but that game has just sucked me in, and there's a sequel coming out next year, so goodbye another 80 hours of my life next year.
That's all right. You got nothing better to do.
I really do, though. But last time I talked about all the new shows that were back this fall and how there was just too many shows to watch, and I forgot to mention one, which is Frasier season 2 on Paramount Plus.
Back, right?
And it's worse than ever.
Oh no, it's bad.
It's got worse in the second season, which is a bummer.
That's usually not how it happens.
Yeah, I watched the first couple episodes in the new season, and I don't know if I even laughed once.
Oh no.
Yeah, no, it was a bummer. But Frasier is back. If you want to sign up for another free trial of Paramount Plus like I did.
Is it still like a comedy of errors or anything like that? Or
it's trying to be exactly the same show. It's just not hitting the mark very good.
Huh. That's too bad. I do feel like it's so far removed from Frasier that I even the fact that it's not set in Seattle is to me
it's not Seattle. He's not a radio psychiatrist. The problem is he's unemployed pretty much. He's like an occasional lecturer at a college, but they don't even really bring that up ever.
Okay.
And so really it's just unemployed Frasier bothering everyone around him.
He spent so much time at work. That was what made him interesting, partially.
Yeah. Well, I gotta let you know what we're watching next time. And Sam, I've got good news.
It's not Muppet Babies?
It's not Muppet Babies. Because the Muppets were up to a few other things in the fall of 1987. The main thing we'll be watching next time is another episode of The Storyteller.
Okay. I'm ready for something weird.
Yeah, this one is called Fear Not. But we'll also watch a couple other things, including a National Wildlife Federation PSA and the Jim Henson Hour pitch reel.
Oh.
And the Muppets appearing on an ABC News special, Wall Street and the Economy.
Why? Why the Muppets?
Well, because the stock market had just crashed.
Oh, yes,
and
right.
ABC News was like, we need to talk about this. And how do we make people not sad? Let's have Kermit describe what a budget deficit is.
Okay. Because, yes, that was something I didn't have time to do the what happened during this time, but it was Black Monday, which was a
Yeah.
huge stock market crash,
Yes.
in this time period.
Yes.
Okay.
And so they make a news special talking about that. We're not watching the whole thing. We're just watching the Muppet parts, but we do get to see Kermit describe what a budget deficit is.
Well, maybe I'll understand what a budget deficit is after
There's
this.
a lot of, it seems like they had Jim and Frank. So there's a lot of good pairings of, you get Piggy and Kermit, you get Rolf and Sam.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I shouldn't get too excited, probably, but
Probably not. But
I'm a little excited.
Much like the Dolly thing, I think it'll be nice to see our friends again.
We need to get the Muppets explaining all bad news to us. That seems like a great thing for them to do.
I wouldn't mind.
Yeah. It would be not for everything, but for economic bad news. That could be a good place for them to live.
Well, that's what we'll be watching next time. For now, we need to thank our friend Tuna for making the music for this podcast and Cassie Wilson for singing our theme song. Don't forget to go to commitment.com for all your commitment needs. And don't forget to rate and review this podcast on your platform of choice. You can email us at mail@commitment.com or follow us everywhere on social media at commitmentpod. And you can follow me at Matthew Gatos.
And I'm Sam Schultz.
And as always, keep believing.
Keep pretending.